think's been what's been the biggest difference for you that's helped the West Indies come out 3-0 so far?
That's a good question. We trained really well and had a couple of really good practice games leading into that first game. So yeah, we were pretty confident that we were going to play well. And to be fair, for 95% of that, for that first game, we were probably in charge of it, and we're playing some really good cricket. And then the collapse happened, and then the momentum swung straight away, and the West Indies have been playing brilliant cricket ever since, and it's been hard to slow them down once they've got going.
Something that Moses mentioned when we spoke to him after the game yesterday was sort of how good West Indies are at defensive bowling, as opposed to maybe always searching for wickets. Is that something that maybe doesn't come naturally to players who perhaps play more longer form cricket? I'm thinking Mitch and Josh and bowlers like that, and people who focus on T20. That defensive mindset with the ball, is that something that comes more naturally to them?
That's a good question. I don't know whether you'd say it comes more naturally, because these guys are highly skilled. Mitch Stark and Josh Hazelwood and Riley Meredith, they're highly skilled bowlers, and I think if we wanted to go down that defensive route, then I'd like to think that they'd be able to manage that and be able to do that role for the team. So I think last night, just given the score only being 140, I'm assuming that was why we came out pretty hard and tried to attack them and try and take a few wickets early and get them on the back foot.
Last one from me, if I can. Obviously, this tour has a bit of a fact-finding element to it, with players missing and players having come back into the squad. Is there any feeling of concern that a lack of depth perhaps has been exposed in these 3 games coming off the back of the series defeat in New Zealand, where some first-choice players were missing as well? Or are you guys fairly confident of looking at the bigger picture and seeing that end target of the World Cup 4 months away?
I think we're still pretty confident that we've got a good team here. Particularly, we've got guys that have had a lot of success domestically, and that's the reason that they're here. And we've got guys in good form as well. It's only been 3 games, and as I said, we had that for 95% of that first game. We were pretty much in charge of it. The West Indies are a fantastic team. They've got just their main 3 guys, if you like, that have played the most T20 in Gayle, Pollard, and Bravo have played near on 1,500 games of T20 cricket. So they're extremely experienced, and they're an extremely good side. And as we've seen, particularly from the way that they've gone about their bowling innings, they're extremely well drilled. So they're a tough side, and given their success in previous World Cups too, I think they're an extremely tough team to beat. So the way that we've been playing, I don't think we've been that far off. We've got some guys, as I said earlier, we've got some guys in good form with both bat and ball. And yeah, I don't think we're as far away as what the 3-0 scoreline might suggest.
Thanks, Dan.
No worries.
Marco Monteverde.
G'day, Dan. Just wondering, how have you found it being back in the Aussie fold, and what are you made of your own form in this series so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome being back. It's like it's very much a second chance to be back here at 38. And I'm loving it, loving the feel within the group. It sounds really cliche, but it really is a great bunch of blokes, and everyone's been extremely welcoming and really excited about having me here. So it's been fantastic from a personal point of view. Form wise, I don't think I'm doing too badly. I made one poor decision in that first game that probably looked a bit worse than it actually was, given the situation of the game. Getting out when I did and how I did. Second game, we needed 20 and over when I came into bat, and then last night I only faced 1 ball at the very end. So batting wise, I'm not too disappointed. I feel like I'm hitting the ball really well in the nets, and that's all you can do really when you come in it and batting at the end like I do. Bowling wise, I feel like the ball's coming out really well. I think these conditions suit me probably more than most anywhere in the world. I think it's very similar to an SCG or Marvel Stadium kind kind of surface where I've played most of my T20 cricket, particularly at home in the last couple of years. So any opportunity I've gotten with the ball so far, I feel like I've done okay.
And he didn't bowl yesterday. Was that just the way it worked out in terms of the game?
Yeah, I think so. It's just I haven't spoken to Finchy about it, but I think it was pretty clear that we were trying to take some early wickets and trying to use the big boys, the big quicks up front to try and blast them out. Really, unfortunately it didn't work on that occasion. Gayle batted beautifully, wound back the clock if you like. Smacked a few out of the stadium. So I don't think that really changes my role too much. Depending on the situation of the game in the next couple, hopefully I'll get a bit more of a bolt.
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
Thanks, Marco. If there's no more questions there online, we'll throw over to Louis here live.
Yeah, just picking up Dan on what you said there about the more experienced guys. You've been a proponent of old blokes winning stuff. Where are the other old blokes for Australia? We need to find more 38-year-olds win stuff for the others.
I think we've still got a lot of guys that are in our side that are extremely experienced. I guess the difference with the West Indies guys and them having played upwards of 500 games, they just play more 2020 cricket, I think, than we do in Australia, and they're able to play more. Gayle and Bravo and Pollard have not played any test or 4-day cricket probably in the last 10 years. I'm not sure. You might have to check that actual stat, but it's been a long time since they have. So they've been able to sink their teeth into 2020 and play a real lot of it. Whereas, the Aussie guys just really don't get that option. I guess majority of them. I've been doing it a lot for the last, just the last 3, maybe 4 years of just playing 2020, and then subsequently my match numbers have gone right up. I've ended up playing a lot more matches. But I guess we don't have too many guys in the country that end up going down that path.
Do you think potentially you could, seeing other guys seeing who are maybe 33, 34 and getting to the point where T20s being a T20 freelance might be an option? Seeing someone like you come into the team and potentially did well, would pave the way for a different way of looking at Australian T20.
Potentially, there are. I mean, it depends on those individual guys, I guess, and whether they've still got ambitions of playing Test cricket and playing 1-day cricket. At 33, I certainly still had ambitions of playing in that Test team, and that was still most certainly still the pinnacle for me. It just ended up Cricket Victoria basically made the decision for me when I was 34, 35 to that I was done in those formats. So that's why I concentrated more on the 2020. So really up to the individual, I think. In terms of being selected for Australia from that perspective, I'm really pleased that from my own selection that my performances in those tournaments around the world for the last couple of years have been reflected. Because I feel like I've been playing well and I have been doing that specialist sort of T20 job at that sort of number 5, 6, 7 in that finishing role and bowling in the middle and a little bit at the death. So it's it's nice that's been seen, I guess.
Just picking up on the ask there, just about the depth of Aussie cricket proceedings, and just sweep Pakistan in the ODI series with their second or third string team. Without directly comparing, I know it's a little bit different, but why they seem to have got so much depth that maybe the Aussies not as much in T20 cricket, or do you not agree with that?
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
If we rolled out our supposed A team against someone in a 1-day series in Australia, I think we'd belt them. Yes, we haven't got as many of our first string guys here as we'd like. But we are playing in the West Indies against the West Indies in a T20 series, which is their best format, which they've proven over the last 10 years or so. So, it's an extremely tough place to come and win in this format, and and I think we've we might have lost the series 3-0, but as I said earlier, we were pretty close in that first game, and as can happen in 2020 cricket, blowouts can happen, and it makes that scoreline look a little bit worse than it is.
Just finally, mate, do you know why Justin Lane was wearing Mitch Marshall's kit?
I'm not sure of the exact bet, but it had something to do with North Melbourne and the West Coast game. I'm not sure what would have happened if West Coast beat North. I don't know what Mitch would have had to wear. Maybe he would have had to wear some of JL's small men's training kit, but I think it was something like that.
JL still has his back injury.
I don't know, actually. Yeah, he could have, yeah.
Thanks, Louis. We've got one more last question from Marco on the line. Marco.
Thanks, mate. Dan, yeah, just so as you said, 3-0 down, I guess, what now, playing for, I guess, pride in these last two games, and do you think there'll be some changes after yesterday's loss?
Good question. I'm not sure. I guess that's up to Finchy and JL and the Brains Trust. It's even any game you play for Australia, regardless of whether it's I suppose a dead rubber or not, is an important one for us as players, and certainly for the support staff as well. We'll be putting out whatever we think is a full strength team. I've got no doubt we've still got these we've still got the series, the one-day series to come, and then more than likely the Bangladesh series as well. So there's plenty of chances to have a look at guys, if that's what you want to call it. But I've got no doubt we'll be trying to play our best team, or what we think is going to be the best team, to try and beat the West Indies in these next couple of games.
Cheers.
No worries.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Thanks to everyone online.